Chapter 1. Part 4.
Tanya had to close her eyes. The screams, the smell of burning flesh flooded the gallery. Tanya spat out pieces of dwarf flesh. He barely opened his eyes, then he could see the blue demon clearly. It was a small Denka that moved at such speed. He had never seen anything like it. He was fast. He threw daggers that always hit the target. If a dwarf came close to his side, his companion finished him with an impressive ability of a single movement. If she did not know her troops well, it would seem that they were simple blades of grass mowed by a gardener. The battle did not last much longer. Surely the rest of the troops had fled in terror when they heard the explosion. Only General Derico and the soldier carrying the Legion's banner remained, a large black spider. Tanya had realized that the demon had left them for last, like the cat playing with the mouse. Derico was breathing tiredly. The situation was overcome. He had never believed the story of the blue demon, and now it was in front of him. The demon's companion attacked the standard bearer. The poor soldier tried to defend himself with the sword, but first he was left without a hand and then without his head. And the standard ended up in the hands of his assassin. Only one dwarf was left standing. The general backed away awkwardly, while the Denka looked at him carefully. General Derico, after King Broke, you are the most powerful dwarf on the Dragon Ridge. Who are you, a demon? The Denka smiled, wiped his face of dwarven blood, and lit a cigarette. I don't have the patience for these things anymore. It was fulminant. If Tanya hadn't seen it, she would swear it never happened. The Denka had a knife at his waist. He drew it at a high speed and slit the throat of the general, who collapsed on the ground immediately. Then he kicked the corpse. He took the Legion's banner from Agnoruk, its most precious symbol, sacred to Danka Ata's brothers, and stabbed it up the dwarf general's ass, piercing the spider. Gosburg then broke the standard stick in half, driving the remaining piece into the general's back. I have had the same mercy as you have with them. I think we've finished them all, but this time you've exposed yourself too much. Gosburg smiled. Not all of them have died, many have fled to the 7th gallery. But don't worry, I've got it all under control. Did you kill her? I don't think so. Tanya watched as the couple began to search through the corpses. She knew that they were looking for her, but the dwarf in her state could not move. Gosburg began to walk to where she was lying and smiled at the sight of her. Here's Agnoruk. Solo la has salvado a ella. They both bent down. Tanya was so terrified that she peed on herself. Her heart was about to explode. Gosburg's eyes shone their bluish color even more brightly than before. Light flooded the gallery. The Denka removed the young dwarf's helmet. Tanya Blackgem, the firstborn of King Broke Blackgem. She was destined to be the future queen if it weren't for her suffering from the mark of Abzorum, being disowned by her father. And her only escape was to join the Legion of Danka Ata's brothers, where he rose through his merits to become the right-hand man of the great General Derico. The dwarf did not understand anything, as the Denka knew who she was, as he felt Gosburg's hand caress the part of her face that was deformed. The reason for her father's repudiation of her, her only solution was military life away from her family at court, although she always proudly bore the royal surname of the House of Black Gem. Agnoruk stared at the dwarf. The truth is that the deformity of the right side was aberrant, but it was not fair how his family had treated him. What are we going to do with you, Tanya? Gosburg asked. Kill me once and for all. With the others you didn't make these games. Gosburg smiled. You're not like everyone else. First you must know that you have already died. Now you must decide whether to die physically or start a new life. What new life? Serve me in everything I ask of you. What if I refuse? You will not suffer, and in 5 seconds you will be under the presence of Thanae to decide your fate. I have no choice, replied the dwarf resignedly. Gosburg shook her hand. The dwarf suspiciously accepted it, and the Denka helped her up. Who are you? Ilaban. The dwarf froze. That couldn't be. The cursed god was a small Denka. But Gosburg was in a hurry. Agnoruk catches the dwarf. We must flood this mine so that no one knows what has happened here. You don't think people will suspect anything? The same thing is going to happen that caused the first defeat to the dwarfs in these mines. Too much coincidence. Gosburg smiled sarcastically at the half-orc as he touched the wall of the mine. I have been living with mortals for more than 5,000 years. Most of them don't even remember what they ate yesterday, as you expect them to remember what happened in these mines more than 50 years ago. Few are those who read books, they like to live in Inopia more. And of those who read, most of them don't read history, it's boring, they prefer more entertaining topics. So the few who will read as we have one today will be the scholars and historians, sitting in their libraries and offices. I know them well and I assure you that scholars will think that they are legends invented by idiots, the Blue Devil, and other tales. Only one or two will connect the dots, but they will not pay any attention to them. Since there will be some great historian sitting the chair and for that illustrious character it is most likely that what happened here will be unimportant. And others will accept what he thinks, since they appreciate his ego more than the truth. Agnoruk knew that Gosburg was right, although victory inside the mine was key in the end no one would care except the relatives of the dead. They ascended to the upper level, in the background the noise of dwarfs could be heard calling their companions. The threat had not completely disappeared. Tanya must have been one of those 2 or 3 who connected the dots, and she seemed to understand that the half-orc and the Denka were plotting. You can't flood the mine, we've diverted the riverbed to prevent it from happening again. Tanya commented with some pride.